Welcome back to another episode of Motivate, Grind, Succeed. Guys, I'm Rasean, I'm your host, and today we are tackling a crucial topic for all of you high achievers out there: overcoming distractions. This episode topic came from a combination of two questions that I asked on a community post over on YouTube. The first question was, which productivity tool do you find most effective? And the winning answer was a to-do list. And the second question was, what is the biggest challenge when it comes to time management? And the winning answer was distractions. So this episode has been birthed. We're going to dive into the roots of distractions, their impact on our productivity, and practical steps you can take to reclaim your focus and boost your productivity. And as a bonus, we're also going to hypercharge your to-do list. Sounds good to you? Let's hop into it. So distractions, as we know, are literally everywhere. Chances are you probably got distracted by at least one thing in the last minute or so that I've been talking. These little pesky things come in many, many forms. Social media distractions, emails, phone calls, cute dog photos, a misplaced book, that one picture on my wall that I actually noticed before I started recording this episode that's crooked and I need to fix. Yeah, these interruptions can severely impact our productivity, leading to extra stress due to approaching deadlines, unfinished projects like the garage you said you were going to finally clean. Sorry, not sorry. And a general sense of frustration and overwhelm. When we're constantly distracted, our brains cannot enter the state that I love so much, called the flow state. It's that deep work state which we can form high levels of productivity and creativity. And a lack of focus can lead to increased stress, decreased quality of work, and moreover, our personal relationships are just going to suffer, man. They're really just going to suffer. So why is it that we get distracted so much? And why is it so hard to maintain focus on things in life? Well, unfortunately, our modern environment is designed to capture our attention. I mean, just look at your phone, for example. Take your phone and look at all the icons on your phone. Do you think that the app makers just made those colors bright and attractive just because it looked nice? Do you think when people make these advertisements, they have popping words popping up and B-roll here and effects there? Even if you see some of my short form content, do you think that's done on accident? No. If you look into things like color psychology, different colors can evoke different emotions and feelings in people. For example, if you see a black and gold color scheme, your first instinct might be luxury or wealth. If you see white, you'll probably think clean and spotless, hence things like a white glove service. Or if you see black and white together in something like a tuxedo or a dress, you'll see something that's distinguished or elevated or formal, something like that. These thoughts are all subconscious and play into our overall experience of something or someone. And also sounds, things that you hear. There's a reason why apps make a notification sound or your keyboard makes that clickety-clack typing sound that you probably disabled. All this information is, for our brain, categorized as new information for it to process, and it keeps us hooked with some small levels of dopamine here and there, which is why you'll sometimes see when people say, if you want to use your phone less, turn on the grayscale mode. And generally speaking, you will use your phone less because there's less color. It's less for your brain to process. It's not as enticing for your eyes to look at. So you want to look at things that are colorful. Hence why I have this background, right? Things are colorful. You tend to want to look at it, right? All these things that are being put together, there's a reason why these things are being put together. Right. So all these things just go to show you our whole environment is based around distractions. And over time, they will erode our ability to concentrate on more important tasks. But as I love to say, there's two sides to every coin. Even though our environment, to an extent, has trained us to be distracted, we can train ourselves to become focused or undistracted. But it starts with awareness and a commitment to change. Now that I've bored you to death with all of that stuff, let's hop into the tips, tricks, and tactics, and let's start making some of that change. Here's what you can do. Number one is create a to-do list. I'm going to spend like 2 seconds on this, not literally, but like 2 seconds, because most people know what to do with a to-do list. So you want to spend either 5 minutes in the morning or before you go to bed, preferably before you go to bed. That's for me, but whichever works for you. And I want you to write down every single task that you have to do. Big or small, I don't care. You shouldn't care either. Write it down. There's a reason why, and I'll get to it in a second. Everything you need to do, just write it down. From walk the dog, walk your cat, pet your turtle. I don't care what you got to do. Call back a prospect, whatever. Just write it down on your list. The point about 5 minutes is you don't want to be going on for like 3 hours. I'm pretty sure you don't have that much stuff to do. It's going to take you 3 hours, but take 5 minutes. And then the reason why we want to do this is because if it's important to you, it's going to take up headspace and it's going to be pretty top of mind. And it's most likely going to pop up in your head within those 5 minutes. Now, you probably won't remember every detail, but you will remember the main task. For example, you may remember the main task of, I have to go to the grocery store. But you're probably not going to remember all the 20 things that you need to get. But you know you got to go to the store. So you'd write down, go to the grocery store. Then, after you write down all the things you have to do, I don't care if it's one thing or if it's 100 things. If you can write 100 things in 5 minutes, I'm very impressed, actually. But if you can, you're going to take all of those things. And what you're going to do is you're going to prioritize that list to the top 3 most important things. Circle them and then focus on getting those things done. To make it even more beneficial for you, write those 3 tasks on a separate list and keep that one as your to-do list. Complete those tasks first. If you're out in the morning, do those first and then move on to the rest. And here's why I recommend making these 2 separate lists, because it's so easy to just look at the tasks on your master list and just do the simple ones first. Or worse yet, you do something that wasn't on your list and then you write it on your list and then you cross it out. Don't act like you didn't do it. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. So trust me, yeah, you do that. But the reason why you want to have the separate list is because the 3 most important tasks that you want to get done, you want to get those done. This is a concept called eating the frog. The concept comes from, if you were tasked with, by the end of the day, you had to eat a frog, would you do it at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day? Doesn't matter how you eat the frog. You could eat it legs first, then body, then eyes, and whatever. It doesn't matter. But you had to eat the frog that day. Ideally, you'd eat the frog at the beginning of the day. Otherwise, you're going to spend the entire day just thinking about how you have to eat this frog at the end of the day. And you probably do not want that. So instead of doing that, you just eat it at the beginning, which means you do the hardest task at the beginning of the day. Instead of focusing on I have to do the super hard task at the end of the day, just get it done at the beginning. But I can't just leave it there. Let's put this to-do list on steroids, the hypercharge that I promised you. Time blocking. First thing, you've got your to-do list. You've got your top 3 list. Now you need to actually make time to do the things. Otherwise, it will fall into the realm of Parkinson's law, which if you've never heard of Parkinson's law, it states that the longer the time horizon is, so time horizon is the period of time you give something to finish a task, the longer it will take, and typically the less inclined you are to do it because the due date is way over there. So what you want to do is allocate specific time slots for each task on your to-do list, and then put it on your calendar as an event. For some longtime listeners, does that sound familiar? Put it on your calendar as an event. I know this sounds cringy. It probably sounds pretty stupid, but I'm telling you, it works. I've been told on social media that this doesn't work. I've been told literally, screw you, this stuff doesn't work. But let me tell you why. Allow me to go on a quick tirade of why the calendar does work and why the people who said it doesn't work, you just aren't working it. Okay? Fight me in the comments. A tool is only as good as the person using it. Yeah, I said it. A tool is only as good as the person using it. How do we know this? If you give an experienced craftsman a hammer and you give a baby that same hammer, you see where I'm going with this. Okay? The tool is only as good as the person who uses it. To one person, let's say a college student or a business professional or a coach or anything like that, a calendar is absolutely crucial. You know when your next class is, your next meeting is, your next call is, your next sales, whatever. You know when it's coming up and you live, breathe, and die by the calendar. I can tell some of y'all are just nodding and raising your hand like, yeah, that's definitely me. To another person who doesn't care about self-improvement and sees no need to better themselves, this will seem ludicrous and this will seem pointless. The reason why is due to priorities. What do you value? Want to hear more about value? Go listen to last week's episode 150. Those who value their time understand the power behind the simple tools. In fact, I can guarantee you, the more advanced somebody is and the more that they value their time, the more that they love the simple tools. The more you can give them I just have to click a button and it's done. They love that because complexity kills. I don't want to have to spend the next 3 months to figure out your tool. I just want to be able to log in, click 2 buttons, it tells me what I need to know, and I get my output. That's why simplicity scales, complexity fails. The simpler it is to understand and to actually do, the easier it is to implement. This is why some tips will make you go, oh yeah, I've kind of heard that before. Oh, here he goes talking about the calendar or the Pomodoro technique again. It's because it works. And those who understand the power behind the simplicity of tools are nodding their heads in agreement. Okay? The time blocking ensures that you have dedicated time to focus on each task without the distractions. So this leads us to the 2-minute rule, right? So on top of the time blocking, let's do 2 more sub points about this. So the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, just do it. Just get it done. This prevents small tasks from piling up and cluttering your to-do list. You have to take the trash out. It's going to take you 2 minutes. Go get it done. Put your shoes away. It's going to take you 2 minutes. Go ahead and get it done. If you need to go ahead and grab the mail, go ahead and do it. Get it done. On top of that, I didn't even put this in my notes either, but on top of that, you're actually you're doing these tasks, getting these things accomplished and done. You're up in the level of dopamine and happy chemicals in your brain now. But we're not going to leave it there with just the 2-minute rule. Let's also move to the 5-minute rule. The 5-minute rule says, when you do any task, set a timer for 5 minutes and work on just that task. Nothing else. When the timer goes off, you stop working on that task. Whatever it is, wherever it is, I don't care. Stop working on it and do something else. Chances are you're going to feel some pull to go ahead and finish that task. That's normal. And it has a name. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. Fancy name. What does it mean? This states that people remember tasks that are left unfinished or interrupted better than completed ones. So naturally, if you leave the task unfinished, that will just give you an extra boost to go ahead and get it done. So leave it unfinished. This is why, for example, why your favorite Netflix show will end the season on a cliffhanger, because you can't just leave the main character dangling just like that forever. There has to be a resolution. I need to see what happens next. There it is. So they got you hooked to have you constantly keep watching. It works on me. That's why I'm still waiting on the next episode and seasons of The Witcher. That's why I'm still waiting, because I love that show. You can't just leave it where they left it. I got to know what happens. I got to see how the new person who stars as Geralt of Rivia plays. I need to know. I do. I love that show. So when it comes on, I will be one of the first people to watch it because it is the open loop in my brain. Lastly, what you want to do is use technology. And this is last for your to-do list. Okay. Utilize productivity apps. I've used the following: Trello, Todoist, Notion, Asana, pen and paper. You use whatever you want to. My personal favorites that I usually keep coming back to are typically Notion, Asana, and then pen and paper. If something just pops in my head right away, it's super fast for me to just grab my notebook on the side and scribble something down, and then I can transfer it to Asana later. Second tip for you, we're moving off of the to-do list now, is you want to prioritize your to-do list with the Eisenhower Matrix. So categorize your tasks into 4 quadrants. In the top left quadrant, you're going to put a task that is urgent and important. The top right quadrant, you're going to put a task that is not urgent and important. In the bottom left quadrant, below the urgent and important, you're going to put a task that is urgent and not important. And in the bottom right, you're going to put a task that is not urgent and not important. Remember that. If you need to listen to it again, rewind what I just said and create that little diagram for yourself. You're doing that on purpose because we're going to come back to it in a second. Next thing you want to do is batch similar tasks. Tasks that are very similar to each other, group them and tackle them in one go. Why? Because this will help to reduce the overall cognitive load on that lovely, juicy brain of yours and help you to be able to increase your efficiency throughout the day. For example, if you need to go to the store, get gas, and go to the laundromat, all of these can be batched into out-of-the-house activities. You can then do my personal favorite thing to do with out-the-house activities. Go to the furthest one first and work your way back in. Why? Because the furthest one will have the most resistance because it's so far, it takes the most gas. I don't even feel like going all the way out there. Why? We're eating the frog with the outside activity. Next thing that you want to do is try your best to make fewer decisions. Let's go back to that Eisenhower Matrix. In that urgent, important box, everything that's there, that is labeled as your do box. You need to do it right then and there. Everything that is in your not urgent and important box is your decide box. You want to schedule a time for it. So put it in your calendar. This could be done like next week. It could be done tomorrow. It could be done wherever. In your urgent and not important box, that's your delegate box. Either you give it to your friend, you give it to your family, you give it to your dog, your cat, AI, I don't care, some online tool, I don't care. Give it to something else. Not urgent and not important box is your delete box. Just scratch it off the list. Doesn't need to get done now. It's not important. Delete it. Third tip I have for you is to turn off your notifications, or better yet, do what I do. Take your phone, but I only have it over here for demonstration purposes. Take your phone, put it on silent, put it face down, and put it across the room over there. Disconnect it from your laptop, disconnect it from your computer, turn off all notification mirroring, do all of that. Why? Because silent mode, you won't get any noise distractions, because we talked about that. Face down, you won't get any visual notification from the screen lighting up. Across the room, you're creating a barrier to be towards you checking your phone, and disabling the notification mirroring removes the possibility of an unimportant message appearing on your phone and then distracting you. That way you think that you need to answer, but in reality, it's not important. Now, if you're saying, but Rasean, what if something really, really important comes up that I have to answer? Okay, time to put on my coaching hat. I don't have a hat today, but let's put on my coaching hat. First, let's go ahead and define important. Okay, in the dictionary, it's defined as of great significance or value, likely to have a profound effect on success, survival, or well-being. So with that in mind, is that new Facebook update from your friend likely to have a profound effect on your future success, survival, or overall well-being in terms of human necessity of food, water, or shelter? No? Then it's not important. But Rasean, what if something actually crucial comes up? Let's define crucial. In the dictionary, it says decisive or critical, especially in the success or failure of something. So for me, again, this is just for me, unless someone's having a medical emergency, yes, including dying, chances are it's not that crucial. So delegate, decide when I'm going to do it, or delete. Last tip I have for you. Listen to binaural beats, or if it's too distracting, just grab some noise canceling headphones and turn on the noise cancellation mode. I listen to binaural beats. If you've never heard of what binaural beats are, in a nutshell, what it is, two different tones are played in each ear with no more than 40 hertz of difference between them. And the reason why is because evidence suggests that the tone emitted from these beats can alter brain waves through a process called brain entrainment, where the brain waves align with what is being perceived. And there's different kinds. There's alpha waves and delta waves and beta waves and gamma waves and all these kind of things. And they represent different waves of brain activity. Some help when you're sleeping. Some are more active when you're awake. Some are more active for creativity. So you can experiment with those. I like to listen to them a lot. If it's too distracting, you can simply use noise canceling headphones, and that'll help you drown out all the external noise that's going on. So try those strategies out. Let me know how it goes for you. But overall, overcoming distractions is crucial for achieving our goals and living a very fulfilling life. And by understanding the roots as we did today, implementing the practical steps that I gave you to combat them, we can reclaim our focus, which is the mnemonic for today's episode. Focus. F, find and write down your tasks. O, overcome the hardest task first. C, create clear daily intention. U, unplug your notifications. And S, surround yourself with focus enhancing sounds. I worked really hard on that last one, but I hope you guys got value from this episode on overcoming distractions, and I'll catch you on the next one. And guys, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Motivate, Grind, Succeed, the podcast. Guys, again, if you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe to the show for weekly uploads. If you love what you heard, be sure to sign up for that email list. And if you hated what you heard, be sure to share with somebody who will appreciate it. Also, if you guys want to get access to the show notes or any kind of resource or link or to anything that was referenced in this episode, be sure to check out that episode description below. You'll also find the contact information, any freebies, or any sort of thing from our little corner of the internet. Check out the episode description. It's going to be an absolute gold mine for you guys. Until next time, take care, and I will see you in the next episode.